There's been a major shift in the industry, and I think it's around quality. And I think that if you listen to anybody at the IAB conference right now, there's a lot of people talk from the New York Times to marketers talking about what it takes to actually make native or brand content function. And I think that there's this realization that if you serve the consumer first, and if we make good content first and foremost, that we can find an intersection between the needs of the consumer and the needs of the marketer that actually make the market work more effectively. And I think that for a long time it's been out of whack. And I think in media that really has found a place for advertising over the years, whether that's magazines or television, there has been a kind of symbiotic balance and a flow to content and advertising that works for the consumer, and I think that's what this is all about. As publishers, what do? You live in a world of distributed media. Your media lives on your owned and operated properties, it lives on YouTube, it lives on Facebook, it lives on Twitter, etc. And I think essentially what we're in the business of doing is managing connections through pipes to consumers, and we share those with advertisers, and that's what native content's all about. So there's the mechanisms to get those out that we're really good at, because we do it hundreds and hundreds of times a day with our content. And there's what fills those pipes, which is really authority and trust and a relationship with the consumer, and then the content that engages them underneath of it. Our concept for it is called shared spaces. What shared spaces is that anything that we have, that we use to power our editorial channels, can be utilized in partnership with brands to do the same, to engage consumers. So whether that's an editorial slug that's driven by the content management system, or how we manage our social channels, those become shared environments that can be either utilized certainly by editorial or by an advertiser. And I think that's really the concept. And inherent in it is a trust with the consumer that we will never violate, which is, first of all, we don't sell or edit, we do share those spaces, and everything is disclosed. And we aspire to make content that's every bit as good as anything that we create editorially, and I think shared spaces sums that up really nicely. Related to that, there's a lot of conversation in the market about the breakdown between church and state and how that's going to affect consumers, and my take on it is I want very much for our editors to be involved in planning and strategizing the kinds of content that we create in partnership with advertisers, because it's their expertise and their authority that matters most. And they are the ones creating that intimacy with the consumer. I think in all cases we'll be completely transparent about how we do that, and if we do it, everybody wins. I really think that we are at the beginning of a completely, because of the democratization of channels that get to consumers, we're at a very new place in thinking about how advertising actually functions. And you hear it all over the place at this event. So it's a good time for digital advertising, I think.